Everyone has something called a mind. What I want to talk about from now on is precisely about this mind. This is because only when we know this can we clearly understand our essence. How on earth is our mind composed? How on earth is the human mind? Like the two sides of a blade that has caused us so much pain, agony and sorrow, and at the same time, allowed us to enjoy the tremendous benefits of civilization, to be composed? If we know this fact, we will be forever liberated from all the wars, struggles, discord, jealousy, and misunderstandings that we humans have experienced for so long. So, from now on, let's take a thorough look into what is called the human mind. As I mentioned earlier, our mind is like a shadow in a mirror. Just as a shadow cannot exist without a mirror, the mind cannot exist unless we are alive. That is, if we do not have life, the mind is formed by accumulating experiences passed one by one. On the blank canvas of life, there are all kinds of things in your mind. It is filled with countless experiences and knowledge, gained through the five senses. However, there is a difference between a mirror and our human mind. When a mirror reflects an object, only that object is reflected in the mirror, and everything else disappears. Moreover, when a mirror reflects something else, the previous object disappears. But our human mind is different. When our mind reflects on an object, that object becomes a memory in our mind. Consequently, even when our mind shifts to another object, the previous one does not vanish and continues to reside somewhere in our mind. At the same time, it has various effects on us. This was not the case when we were very young, before the concept of the I-ego had begun. So, even if children fight with their friends while playing, the next day, they play together again as if they never did before. However, after a fight with someone, adults tend to avoid them, or feel very bad when they meet that person again the next day. So, why does this difference between children and adults occur? In the case of children, yesterday's experiences do not intervene in the present moment, allowing them to purely look at the object. This is a mirror-like state. But in the case of adults, the moment they look at the object, the experience of the past intervened in the present, making it impossible to see the object purely. All human prejudices are like this. The person in front of you right now may have already changed from yesterday. They might have regretted their mistakes in bed last night and attempted to meet you with a new heart. However, we are tied up in the past and cannot see the truth of the present. I saw a movie a long time ago, and I remember being very impressed by the content. The heroine, a fashion model, was walking down the street one day and was waiting for the traffic light to change so she could cross the street. However, a child suddenly jumped into the crosswalk as a car approached from the other side. If left unattended, it would have been a dangerous moment for the car to hit the child. In a split second, a woman intervened and pushed the child out of harm's way. It was a fleeting moment, and then the woman herself was hit by the car. At that moment, one of the onlookers who witnessed the scene, a woman, collapsed on the spot. The woman turned out to be the child's mother. Amidst the commotion, the hospital ambulance arrived and transported the two women to the hospital. The doctor who examined the two women taken to the hospital confirmed that both women were dead. No, the child's mother was completely deceased, and the model only had her brain functioning. Consequently, the hospital held an emergency meeting, deliberated on the issue, and reached a unanimous conclusion. The child's mother's body is intact, and the model's body is damaged. Let's transplant the model's functioning brain into the child's mother's body. The child's mother finally underwent a transplant surgery. It was an anxious time. After some time, news came that the surgery was successful. The woman was still in bed with a bandage wrapped around her head. A few days later, she regained consciousness. The moment she saw her reflection in the mirror, she exclaimed. Her body trembled. What she saw in the mirror was not her former self, but the overweight body of a middle-aged woman. She couldn't accept that sight. She felt like she was going crazy. Even when people she knew came to visit, she recognized them, but they did not recognize her. She was confused. Everything became a mess. She felt like committing suicide. So, let us think about it here. Why did she suffer so much? The cause was I-ego, a collection of her past experiences. She still remembers her slim body, and she lived knowing that it was hers. But think about it. Our bodies are always changing. A slim physique is not a permanent reality. Facial features can be altered through surgery, and bodies can gain weight over time. She was confused because she believed her former self was an eternal reality. Our body is not our essence. If she had lost her memory the moment she looked in the mirror, she would have thought that the image reflected in the mirror was her original body, and she would have naturally accepted it. What feels the pain is her memory. That is, I-ego, a collection of her past experiences. The only truth is existence. The image in the mirror that lies before her is the only reality and truth. When we walk down the street, we sometimes see trees with their trunks cut off. However, in the following spring, those trees come back to life with new branches sprouting. However, if people had their limbs amputated like a tree, would they be able to live normally? Except for a few individuals, most people would likely live in despair or commit suicide. So, as beings sharing the same life, why do trees live happily while people despair or commit suicide? Some people say, "Don't talk nonsense. How are trees and people the same?" No, all living beings are the same, even though they may look different from each other. So, what is the difference? Trees have no memory of the past and always live in the present moment. In contrast, people often perceive their past self as their true self, leading them to view their present self through the lens of that memory, which can result in feelings of despair. Our bodies and memories were created as we grew up. It is an illusion. If you believe in illusions, you will always get hurt. Why this is because illusions are constantly changing. To escape from mental pain, we must clearly understand what is an illusion. If a child were born without limbs in a country where only people without limbs live, would the child despair of having no limbs? Of course not. It would be taken for granted. What is hurting us is just a memory, a past experience. Just believe in life and live. Even if a limb is cut off, our life remains the same. That life is our essence. Everything else is an illusion. Don't cling to that illusion. The only thing alive is the pure present. Life is a constant flow. It doesn't stop even for a moment. It is like a flowing river. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus said, "We cannot enter the same river twice. When you enter for the second time, the water from the first time has already flowed away." So, as we know, most of our human lives are constantly ruining present. Living lives with dead past. Our mind is a collection of experiences, a memory, a dead past.